Welcome back, Moto Machine Nation. Today we will be installing the Oxford Heaterz grips on my Suzuki GSX-R 1000. Before we begin, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Here are some of the features. Modular components that can be replaced when damaged. Weather resistant. Multiple heat settings. Intelligent battery protection to prevent your bike from losing power. And flexible installation options. Before you install the unit, make sure everything works. Check to see if the grips heat up. Start by installing the wiring harness. Disconnect the negative terminal and then the positive terminal. Connect the positive end of the wiring harness to the positive terminal of the battery, and connect the negative end of the wiring harness to the negative terminal of the battery. Now plug in the controller and the two grips. Now turn on the controller to the high setting using the toggle switch. It may take a few minutes for the grips to heat up. If both grips are working, turn off the controller and unplug the controller and the two grips. Now you're going to route the harness to the front of the bike. I ended up routing the harness to the area in front of the airbox and under the gas tank. Now you're going to find a location for the controller and route the wire from the controller to the harness. Now we're going to install the grips. We're going to start with the clutch side. First you're going to remove the bar end. Now the first thing we're going to do is remove the old grip. I found the easiest way to remove the grip was to use a razor blade to cut it off. Once the grip is off, you can use some sandpaper to remove the old glue on the bar. Now we're going to install the Oxford grip. I found that using some dish soap made it easier to install the grip. I found it easier to install the grip using a twisting motion to get the grip to go onto the bar. Wearing some gloves also helps. Make sure you check your clutch lever to see that it is not obstructed by the wiring for the grip. Now you're going to reinstall the bar end. Now we're moving on to the throttle side. First we're going to remove the bar end. Now we're going to remove the grip. Once again, the easiest way is to cut the grip off. Be careful not to damage the throttle tube that is under the grip. In order to get the Oxford grip to fit over the throttle tube, you're going to need to use a Dremel to grind off the ridge at the end of the throttle tube. Take your time and make sure you don't grind off too much material off the throttle tube. If you damage the throttle tube, you will need to replace it. Now there are some small ridges running along the throttle tube. I've seen on the forums that some people are able to install the heated grips over those ridges. However, in my case, they seem to be a little too tight. So I also used a Dremel tool to grind those off. Be careful not to take off too much material and take your time doing your fitting. Now you're going to test fit the Oxford grip to determine the position of the grip and the length. You're going to cut off the excess material on the grip and make sure the bar end doesn't come in contact with the grip when it is installed. You will route the wire through the triple tree to the wiring harness. Now, depending on how much material you took off the throttle tube, the grip may be slightly loose on the throttle tube. If that is the case, you will need to use some of the glue that's included in the kit to glue the grip to the throttle tube to ensure that it doesn't slide or move and slip on the throttle tube when you're turning the throttle. Make sure you wipe up the excess glue. Putting down a paper towel might be a good idea. Now you're going to reinstall the bar end. Now you're going to go ahead and connect all the wires to the harness. I ended up putting all the excess wiring, including the ends of the harness, into the empty space between the frame and the front of the airbox. You need to make sure to leave enough slack in the wiring to allow the bars to turn both directions. Now you're going to do another test on the grips to make sure both are working properly before you button everything up.
A few moments later.
Good to go. Both grips are hot. So now what we are going to do is button everything up and make sure that the bike starts up properly. During this process, you can also use some zip ties to secure the wiring to the handlebars to make sure that the wiring doesn't rub up on the fairing. You also want to make sure that the wires coming out from underneath the gas tank aren't pinched when you screw everything back together. I hope this video was helpful. This fit on my 2017 GSXR 1000 sport bike. Oxford does make two other sizes that fit cruisers and touring bikes, and so you can check the fitment on their website. I will include a link in the description. thanks for watching this. If you have any comments or if you have any ideas for any other videos I can do, please feel free to leave a comment below.